Stevie Lee, it's here. We saw what the big season started at Ohio State, but it's a little different for any fan base when you get to see your first home game. Quick summary, man. Just not really the game, but getting back and seeing that atmosphere at DKR. Well, I mean, you and I passed each other. We took the complimentary picture, had a few beverages. We were very thirsty on Saturday. Summarize your day.
Great day, man. You and I started out at the tailgate.
Yeah.
We took a very nice picture. I'm upset that I don't see it yet.
It's up. It's up.
It's up. Okay. Got a good picture going. Got in the stadium. A man cave alum, Philip Geiger, was with me, and he had his son with him. So we sat together in our regular seats. Man, it was a beautiful day. It rained a little bit. My little niece came over. She's a junior at Texas. I took her up to the tea room, and then came back out into the stadium, had a really good time. It was a lot of fun. The atmosphere was fantastic. I don't even know what kind of plane that was for the flyover.
B-1.
It was a what?
B-1 bomber.
It was a B-1 bomber. Those bombers, they come out of Shreveport sometimes.
They do. That's right.
Yeah. So it flew over. It was loud as hell. Gave you goosebumps. The atmosphere was great. The game day experience has been really top notch last few years at Texas, especially if you go to a night game.
That's where it all started.
Yeah, it was really fun to be there.
It was. Thank God. I was glad I didn't wear a white shirt, or I would have been. I probably would have finished third in a wet T-shirt contest, because it did rain for a little bit. But hey, we even got to do an indirect tribute to the Ice Cube, because we did see the lights of the Goodyear blimp. I hadn't seen the Goodyear blimp in over 20 years.
Yeah, as I was walking up to the stadium, I saw the blimp up there, and that's the first thing that I thought of was Ice Cube. Yeah, but I always substitute Ice Cube name for my name. Stevie Lee's a pimp.
That's right, 100% you are. Hey, coming up on this episode, we're going to break down a little bit of the game that was San Jose State, the home opener, 38-7. And I think this soundbite right here from Sark really summarized the part that kind of red alerts everybody. 12 penalties.
We had holdings on the interior line. We had a roughing the passer. We jumped off sides on defense. And so it was kind of across the board, which to me is, my foot's got to get in their butt here on Monday morning. Like, that's unacceptable.
Unacceptable. This is Monday. He is real quick. When you have a game like that, what was it like for you as a player when you guys committed all types of miscues and had yellow flags thrown all over the stat sheet?
We didn't have games like that.
Wow.
We played in a great era.
You were perfect. I forgot.
No, so I don't remember. I'm sure we did have games like that. I'm joking. But I don't remember what we did. I do know that we preached discipline, and Mad Dog was our disciplinarian. So I think that really being focused and getting everything out of your head and playing the game that's in front of you, and being disciplined on everything that you do on the field. I think you got to get back to kind of fundamentals with that part.
Well, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to introduce a new segment with a former Longhorn receiver great and good friend of mine who I really, really have had the utmost respect, still in the sports media, still doing great things in San Antonio. And he covers the Cowboys, and we're going to get an idea of what he may think about the Cowboys moving forward and the potential of what the downtown area of San Antonio might become. Because I think the voters in San Antonio want it. I think. Stevie, are you ready?
Let's ride.
Let's ride, baby.
I thought it was sloppy. My part, can't turn the ball over in the red area. I kind of made some throws where defense had a chance to pick, which they didn't. So got to play better. I think all around it was a little sloppy.
One quick follow-up. You talk about your connection with Parker.
Yeah, Parker's a really good player. He's been a touchdown machine lately. I feel like we have a good connection. It's only going to grow.
Arch, there was a moment where they showed you grimacing, let go of the ball and fall over the middle window. Did you deal with something pain-wise or anything like that?
No, I got to make that throw. He was open, ran a good dig route, so got to make that throw.
Sark says.
Okay, Stevie. You heard that Arch clearly humble, taking responsibility, being a leader. I think I heard in that last question, are you hurt at all?
Mm-hmm.
Reason why he couldn't make certain throws. Did you hear what Sark had to say today?
No, I didn't.
Okay. He was asked if people were observing the winces on Arch's face, if he's been hurt. And this was Sark's response to that. This is classic. This is going to be one of those sound bites we'll probably play several times.
Is there an explanation to why it looked like that?
I don't know. I've never filmed any of you guys when you're using the bathroom, so I don't know what faces you make when you're doing that.
So, what movie? There's a certain movie, I'll say Friday, when Craig's dad's in the restroom making all those faces while he's on the toilet. And he said, don't go in there for 35, 45 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, house party. Friday one. Hey, he's right though, but we do have eyes, and he is wincing after his throws. But I mean, I understand coach is protecting his quarterback and the narrative out there, but we saw it, so we got to ask,
Hey, before we move forward and bring in our new segment with a Man Cave VIP alumni, be sure to follow us on all social media. Very active now, and we have to give a shout out to our title sponsor, and they do a lot for us. They're based out of Shreveport, your hometown, Hargrove Roofing. Stevie, you are the voice and the unofficial face of Hargrove Roofing, correct?
Unofficial face?
Yeah.
I guess so. The actual face was on the field last night or on Saturday. So
that's right.
Shipley, our new NIL partner. So he's the face. But Hargrove Roofing, know who's on your roof.
And people need to know. Those shingles are tricky, man. And Hargrove does it best. Hey, let's bring in our new segment here. We're going to call him Playmaker83.
Playmaker.
All right, our boxes are very small. There's Mike Adams. That's he's Playmaker83. Played for John Makovic. A lot of great receivers. Mike Adams, you're in administration, a principal in Pflugerville ISD, but you're still very knowledgeable of the game. Are those winces on Arch's face? And I don't know if anyone wants to see anyone's face, looks on their faces of what they may look like in the restroom.
Friday. Need to come back 30, 45 minutes. All-time great movie. But to answer your question, no, those winches aren't good. When I saw the replays of it or saw the tweets that were out there, and I'm like, man, that's not normal. That's not normal for a quarterback. And it just made me think about, a quarterback that was close to me a few years ago. He was kind of dealing with a little arm injury or whatever. It turned out he had a minor fracture.
Oh,
near his growth plate. I'm talking about my own son when his junior year before the start of it. And,
Mike, your take on what do you think's holding back Wingo?
Man, I think I think Saturday actually might have been the best thing for him. Parker Livingston kind of getting into the action, becoming that, I don't want to call him wide receiver one right now, but he certainly was this past game. And And actually, I guess you could say even the Ohio State game, he scored the only touchdown from the group. So right now he is wide receiver 1. But I think all those pressures preseason were put on Wingo, and in a good way. I mean, he was expected to kind of, take over from the guys that left last year. And sometimes when you place that kind of pressure on yourself and the pressure from the outside, and I don't think it's anything that he's doing that's wrong, even though he had that one drop. But that's no big deal. I just think getting someone else into the action, I mean, that's a good thing for him because now teams are going to start focusing on Livingston and the tight end. And I think we're going to see, still going to see a breakout year for Ryan Wingo. He's just got to stay patient and not get outside the system, not trying to do things that he normally would do. Got a lot of football left. So, everyone's finding their groove right now. Offense, defense, arts, the receivers. And I know you guys talked about penalties earlier and things like that. Second ball game of the year. Everybody's trying to find their niche, trying to get sharp. And this is what these type of games are for. When you play San Jose State.
So yeah, man, Mike, thanks for coming on, man. I wanted to ask you a little bit about Livingston. How do you feel that he's progressing, and what do you feel like he's going to do for the rest of the season? And also Arch's progression, how he's going to feel the rest of the season. I thought that it was going to be Arch and Wingo locked in, but now we're seeing Livingston. How do you feel about that?
Well, I just think as far as Livingston goes, I think it's good. Like I was just alluding to earlier, it's good that another guy is stepping up. I mean, obviously, everyone had their target on who was going to be wide receiver 1, but even with Wingo, I mean, he played a little bit last year, but I don't know if he put up the numbers or even played a lot to where I would come into the season and say, he's going to be wide receiver 1. I guess the only thing you can really base that on is that he played more than the other guys did. Livingston redshirted. But that's a guy that I remember, when I was coaching and seeing some of his Twitter highlights, things like that. Man, that guy went like 21.5 in the 200 meters.
Yeah.
So I'm not shocked that he's doing what he's doing. He's 6'4", 6'5", played great competition up there in the DFW area. I mean, obviously they saw something in him to offer him and saw that he was a big-time talent, and he's proven to do so. It wouldn't shock me one bit if he continued on the track that he's continuing. Matter of fact, it would be a disappointment if he regressed at this point. I think. I mean, so I fully expect that and expect him to continue to make big plays. He is a big play target, fast, long rangey. And I think now is the time for Wingo to actually do what Livingston is doing now. And I think he's going to get the opportunity to do so. As far as Arch is going, he had a great game this past game. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say great. I mean, he was better than he was against Ohio State. Yeah. I mean, but he looked good, though. I thought he looked good. I mean, to me, I love his escapability. I mean, Arch, I think that's probably his biggest asset right now. And, being able to get away from pressure, because we know when he sees Georgia, when he sees Florida, he's going to see pressure. And that's something that's kind of been, eluding the quarterback, position in the last couple of years. I mean, Quinn wasn't really able to escape, pressure defense. Arch is going to be able to do that. Now, I still think he's getting used to playing a position and playing it at such a high caliber, playing at the competition that he's playing. I mean, I think, and nothing against high schools, he probably didn't see the looks that he saw in high school. He probably didn't see that in Louisiana and being at that high school like some of our guys here in Texas. Right. I mean, and that's why Texas is known as one of the top states for quarterback talent, receiver talent, man, with the 7-on-7s that are going on and all the different looks and different defenses that our kids see. Arch may be a little bit behind some of our other quarterbacks that are born right here and bred in this state that are doing very well. I mean, I look at a guy like John Mateer. I mean, that guy's right from the DFW Metroplex area, went out of state. I mean, look at it. I mean, that guy's able to handle pretty much whatever that you throw at him. And he's been in college 4 years. I mean, a year longer than Arch has, actually.
Yeah.
But I think the competition that he's gone against has really prepared him for the moment. Arch is going to get better. So people just need to take that with a grain of salt. I mean, he's going to get better. He's going to continue to grow and flourish and develop, but there's going to be some growing pains.
I wanted to also ask about Trey Wisner, running back. Maybe doubtful for this week, right, Sean?
Yeah, I've heard possibly
maybe doubtful, but I want to hear what you think about that and how that will be impact us. But I also have a thought about that as well.
So I got to the game. Well, I got there right after kickoff. So I saw everything, heard these guys coming out to some of those things like that. And man, I'm like, why am I seeing all these other running backs in the game? I didn't realize that he had gotten injured.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't either.
And hearing kind of what you guys are saying, he may be out for a week or two. I think, based on the opponents we have coming up, might not be a bad thing. Let's go ahead and get him, healed up 100% before we go into Florida. But, man, he's someone we definitely need. I mean, because I think Baxter, while he appears to be healthy, 100% healthy, or at least I hope he is, we don't want to continue to wear him down, if he's not quite healthy yet. We want to keep getting him into game shape. We want to make sure Wisner is in game shape. I mean, that guy, led the team in rushing or was one of the top rushers last year when Baxter went down. Obviously, he filled that void last year. And I know we got some good young talent. I'd like to see Gibson get some more carries, but
yeah, I do too.
We got to make sure Trey is healthy going into that Florida-Oklahoma stretch. That's going to be huge. And hopefully it is only a week or two.
So I got a little bit of a different take on that, man. So I just a little bit. I agree with everything you're saying, but I think that Baxter, he was actually our guy last year before he got hurt, right? And so working back after an injury like that, getting back in a game shape, you need game experience. So I want to see him run more. I want to see him run the ball more, in the game more, picking up blitzes more, to get him back in that shape and be our guy again. And it's never a bad thing if you got 2 and 3 running backs in our stable that can do amazing things, So
that's exactly right. But to that point, and I was kind of wondering about that too. You raised an interesting point because Baxter was the guy last year, but he got hurt, went down. Wisner came in, man, filled in admirably, beautifully actually, and I don't know if I would actually say, okay, well, CJ's back now, and he was the guy before. I mean, that's 1,000 yards Wisner put up. Big playability. I mean, to me, that would have been the perfect situation to kind of ease ours into, man. Let's get both of those guys maximum amount of carries.
Hey, I promise we'll get those technical difficulties resolved with the Playmaker 83 Mike Adams in the future. It happens, Stevie, when you rely on technology. Hey, FYI, you may remember this name when UTEP rolls into Austin this weekend. Their QB1, Malachi Nelson. He was a 5-star quarterback out of high school, signed with USC, then transferred to Boise State. Then he recently transferred to UTEP, and he's slinging the rock, as they say. I don't know if you remember him, but UTEP is a threat offensively.
Yeah, I do not remember him. I vaguely remember I don't remember him from high school. I vaguely remember him going to USC. So it's actually news to me. I didn't know that he was at UTEP now. So this is going to be fun. A 5-star, you said he was? Yeah, man. So that's a good talent coming to town and a good challenge for our defense again. So let's see it. Let's see what these DBs can do and hold these receivers down and then keep this kid contained.
So just for people, reminder, the Power 12 and 4 on the outside, they're not true rankings, they're ratings, if you will. It's margin of victory, margin of defeat, where you went, road, home, injuries, the sexiness of how you performed. How did you look? Everybody loves a good sex factor. But the new Power 12 and 4 on the outside looks like this. A little bit of movement and a little bit of movement on the ones on the outside. So top 6, a little bit of movement. I thought what Oregon did to Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State's not very good right now, but to put, I think, 69 points on them and abuse them, they look sexy. I did move up LSU and Texas. I think they go down a little bit to number 6. because it wasn't clean. But
I
if you
can't
look,
argue. I hate it, but I can't argue with it. I hear you.
because this is just something that moves up and down how they look, body of work.
Yeah.
Dude, I think Florida State, they're up. And look at 11 out of nowhere, Oklahoma.
I see Oklahoma going higher, man. They basically whipped Michigan this weekend. I was surprised on how good OU looked this weekend. So I'm a little bit more nervous about that Red River rivalry right now.
Man, that quarterback, Mateer, I mean, this is
Baller.
– I mean, for those that don't believe me, look, this is two key plays from the quarterback, Mateer, the transfer from Washington State, and check out their defense.
Mateer running all the way. Gets free. Mateer. Touchdown, Oklahoma. That drive was all on the quarterback. 3 of 4 in the early going. Haynes in the slot. Caught the ball, and Kendall Daniels hammered him immediately.
So OU's back for now. But I will say this. They keep those guys healthy. It's going to be a competitive Red River rivalry in Dallas. Iowa State, they beat their in-state rivals. A&M's hanging in there, but they've got a big one, Stevie, at Notre Dame this weekend. So we went 3-1 in potential upsets. We got a whole lot of upset potential this week. Texas State, who got the big win at the Alamodome against UTSA. They're 2-0. They hosted Arizona State last year, who ended up winning the Big 12 and gave Texas all they could handle. Texas State at Arizona State. Are you believing it as an upset potential?
Yes. I'm actually taking Texas State.
Okay. And Vanderbilt is in our Power 12, 4 on the outside. They're at the Cox. Vanderbilt, it's an SEC game. Man, there's something about this with Diego Pavia at quarterback. He's like a Johnny Manziel 2.0 to me.
Yeah.
You think they have enough to go win in Cocktown?
I do. They're gonna beat the Cox. Yes, I do. I think I got Vandy.
Okay. A&M, Notre Dame. Notre Dame took it in College Station last year. I think Aggies surprised everybody.
Yeah, that's hard at Notre Dame, though, man. But I'm going to get on board with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen often.
Doesn't.
Arkansas at Ole Miss, man, I think the Hogs are playing for their coach big time.
Yeah, I got Lane Kiffin, man.
Okay.
I got Lane Kiffin. I want Arkansas to do well.
Arkansas.
So we can beat them when they come here, or we go there this year.
No, they come here.
They come here, yeah.
Yeah.
So I want them to do well for we can beat them when they come here, but I don't see it right now. I got
does Heupel have enough now at Tennessee to pull off the miraculous upset against Georgia in Knoxville?
I think it's time. I think it's time for them to I think they can rise to that occasion. I think Georgia goes down to Tennessee.
All right. Clemson had a scare with Troy. Troy's a good programmer, has been at that level, mid-major type. They're my national champion pick. Do they go down in Atlanta? I think it's possible.
Just because you picked them as national champions, I am going with Georgia Tech and rooting for Gideon, their new defensive coordinator from Texas.
That's right.
Texas and moved. They hired him as a defensive coordinator this off season. So I'm going with Georgia Tech, man. That's my guy.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. All right, quick thoughts, Stevie. I thought the Dallas Cowboys opener in Philly was a little bit better than anyone ever anticipated. And it was close. The offense has a lot of juice. Defense clearly is not good yet. I don't know what they will. But the most impressive to me had to be the discipline by number 4. You know what I'm talking about? When this happened.
A snap. Chris, that's, first of all, I got a 5-yard line.
Conduct. Defense number 98. Number 98's defense actions has disqualified him from the game.
Whoa.
So Jalen Clark spat at Dak. So, and I'm going to bring a little surprise for you. I've got somebody that knows probably a lot more than we do, because I have been out of the game of covering anybody for a while. And how about let's bring in a certain guy I want you to meet from San Antonio. Here we go, Chuck. I want to get it. There we go. And I love.
Oh, let me frame it up.
There it is. A good frame. Good 16:9 here. You don't age, my friend. I love when people. Let me put your name up here. Here we go. Oh, it goes over your face is still there. Chuck Miketinac. That's how I love when people try to say your last name. Chuck, correct the people. And what's the over/under when you go to social events or galas and they try to pronounce your last name properly? How many times do people improperly pronounce it?
Almost always, but that's okay. When you have problems at your own house with your kids being able to pronounce it right, you got to give grace, Clint. You got to give them some grace.
Well, for everyone and for you, Stevie, Chuck and I date back to when I started in Oklahoma City at the Fox affiliate. It was 2007, and Chuck and his crew do a fantastic job at the Fox affiliate in San Antonio. I mean, this guy, I've never seen him stressed. He's just cool as a cucumber. He does a great job with the stories, everything. But I've got to ask your opinion first. That was great discipline by Dak toward saliva. I don't know if any of us could have handled another man's saliva on our jersey as well as Dak did.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing about Dak Prescott. I mean, of his many, many accolades, and this dude is a razor mentally. I mean, everything that you want in a pro ball player, that's this guy on and off the field. And there's not anything that he hasn't thought of or thought through going into games, being a leader, being a ball player. You're right. There wouldn't be many of us that would have handled that situation any better than he could have, which is turn the other cheek, obviously, because there's a game to play. One player didn't turn the cheek. In fact, because of what he did, cost him the ball game personally, and it could have cost his team ultimately the ball game too if CeeDee Lamb had made a couple more balls.
That's true. Hey, Stevie, I know you got that. You've got some questions locked and loaded about the Cowboys themselves for Chuck.
Well, Chuck, thanks for coming on, man. Hey, listen, we all had really high expectations of the Cowboys signing Micah. When they didn't, and we saw the first game, they actually did not do as bad as we thought. What do you think that they're going to do, moving forward? How do you feel that their season is going to pan out after seeing their first game?
Well,
I know you don't have a crystal ball.
No, I know. You're right. I don't. But that's all right. I appreciate y'all having me on today.
Absolutely.
I think in some ways I was surprised that game was there for the taking. Enemy territory, Super Bowl champs. Everybody's saying you're not going to do anything without 11 on the field. And now number one. I was pleasantly surprised with what they were able to cobble together on the defensive side of the ball. I thought early on in the season, the Cowboys are going to maybe have to outscore some people because that's where the bulk of their money, the bulk of their corporate resources are in terms of who's getting paid. Most of those guys are on the offensive side of the ball. And yet the defense kind of held its own. I thought the Cowboys had a real advantage in this game in that Coach Schottenheimer said at the very beginning of preseason, look, we're going to go into this thing playing golf with a 7-iron. And anybody that's ever played golf, knowing if you got to play with a 7-iron, you're going to handicap yourself in a lot of different ways. Well, what this benefited, I think, from the Cowboys' perspective is the fact that they didn't show anybody really anything during the preseason as to what kind of an offense, what kind of a defense, what kind of things they were going to be able to scheme week to week. So I think in that sense, they had a decided advantage. The other side of that was the rust factor, right? You know, maybe CD coming off the injury last year and then not having the benefit of preseason football games to get real bullets flying at you, so to speak, probably hurt how good he can be in some respects, and probably overall the offense too. I mean, that's a tough first game to go into, right? Kind of like with Texas going into Ohio State. You know, you got a bunch of new toys, but how do they function when the lights are at their brightest and when the competition is going to be at its stiffest? It's not fair in a lot of ways, but, you know, sure, those kids on Texas and the guys on the Cowboys, you know, they don't make the schedule. So, you know, I think in a lot of ways, the Cowboys have a lot they can build off in that first game for sure.
Chuck, I've got to ask you this, that and so, man, this is long overdue. This should have happened. You should have been in a VIP alumni 3 years ago on this podcast. But there's been a lot of development in San Antonio. I've never had a problem with the AT&T Center. I know it's a new sponsor name now. I just know that area where the rodeo is never truly developed as so many thought and really had the plans. But now there's this Marvel project downtown. I've always envisioned, and Chuck is a baseball guy. He could tell you, it's amazing your knowledge of baseball, but the Marvel project, a new arena for the Spurs, pour in some funding to help with the Alamodome, which it's not modern, but it's not a bad facility. It has the best parking and everything else. I think maybe a downtown baseball stadium at some point. And then you have one factor, Mayor Gina Ortiz. You put all three of those together, the Spurs, from a perspective from the social media, I'm almost like, is this actually going to happen or not?
That's a really good question, Sean. I mean, and it's nuanced, right? It's not just as simple as, you know, what it's portrayed to be, which is, you know, if you look at the spectacle or some of the pre-specs that we've seen on what this entity might look like, who doesn't want this in their own backyard, right? Sign me up for it. I mean, I know I want something like that in my town. I'd want to go visit something like that. So, you know, from that sense, it's like, yeah, San Antonio could definitely use a state-of-the-art complex. And the difference between this complex and the AT&T Center when it was built is that they're not only going to build it, you know, the old adage, build it and they will come. Well, build it and we'll build all the stuff around it, so we'll make sure that they come. So you're not only going to have the entity where the Spurs would play basketball, but you'd have the restaurants and the other things around it to go with it. So you're basically building the infrastructure around this project. And so, you know, I can definitely see why Spurs fans, the ones that want this, want to have it, right? Makes a lot of sense. So where it gets nuanced is, how are we going to pay for all this, right? How are the Spurs going to pay for it? Who's on the hook for all this? And I think that's where the messaging has kind of been a little bit kind of hard to understand, to put it mildly, right? So I think the general premise that's out there is it's not going to cost the general taxpayer, the general San Antonian, whoever lives around here, anything. And that's simply not the case. I mean, there are going to be two taxes for this thing that they're going to try to get passed through, one in the fall and then one again in the spring. So the initial plan was to have two tax asks on the November ballot, right? So the first ask is going to be whether or not the citizens of San Antonio want to have a tax increase for the hotel motel tax, the car rental tax that's already in place here in San Antonio. The second ask is going to be lumped in with a bunch of other streets and pavement taxes, and they're going to have to build the streets and the bridges and everything else that goes around this monstrosity downtown. So, you know, to say that it's not going to cost anybody anything, I think that's where they're losing some people, the Spurs are, and those that want this. It's like nothing is coming for free in all this. And yes, the Spurs are ponying up a sizable portion of the value of whatever it is it's going to cost to build this thing. And, I think it's a tough one to actually draw a line in the sand and say, I side with this group or this group, because quite frankly, I see it from both sides of the aisle. I mean, our mayor, Gina Ortiz-Jones, has asked, I think, valid questions amongst all of this. And, she's getting a lot of pushback, but, I'm not really sure I understand some of that, because she's just asking questions like, what's the rush? Why do we have to have this on the ballot in November? Is this the best deal we can get for the city? All things that you would hope that somebody in a position of power would ask, when those same people are now going to have to go to the public and say, hey, in November, we're going to ask you to vote yes for this. And then in the spring, we're going to ask you to vote for this. So, there's been a lot of back and forth going back between both sides. And ultimately, we're at the point where the voters will be asked to decide which way this thing is going to go. And, how's it going to play out? Honestly, Sean, I have no idea. No clue, because I've heard from people on both sides. And, I guess it's one of those things, we'll let the chips fall where they may. Here's my understanding, though. We'll see which way this goes in November. If the first tax ask doesn't pass, then from what I understand, all bets are off. Like, the Spurs and the city have to have both of the tax asks, or this project does not move forward in its current state.
That's and not to be broad surface level, but I mean, we're facing some similar situations here in Austin with, increase in budget. It's on the ballot here. People want to be taxed more on their property taxes when it's already the cost of living is high. Stevie, I know you've been to one. I know the Spurs made a commitment to come to Austin twice a year. There's 2 games, and they actually lower the flaps at the Moody Center, and they sell out.
Yeah.
I've heard this, Chuck. I've been wanting to tell you this for a while, and I don't say anything because I don't know anything. I don't want to be the old guy that thinks he knows everything, because I don't. I just don't see the Spurs ever leaving San Antonio. Even people on it, there's some people here in Austin that think it's a possibility. What do you say to those type of people?
You're right. I mean, I've heard those rumors too. And then the way I understand it is this is what I know. If these 2 tax asks don't go through, then the Spurs are going to weigh their options, right? You would have to think that would be the case anyway, but that, to my knowledge, is how it's going to go down. Now, what does that look like? I have no idea, because, people are throwing out, well, they're going to move. They're going to go to Austin. They're going to go to Seattle. They're going to go to Vegas. Well, then you have to start spitballing this thing out kind of at the 40,000-foot view. What does that look like for Austin? Does the University of Texas want 41 dates from an NBA basketball team in the Moody Center? Do they want dates that are partitioned off with no bookings being allowed, because you have to wait and see? The NBA makes them, all these facilities wait to see if your team makes the playoffs. And then so you have to leave your building essentially open with no bookings for, mid-April and June and maybe part of July, while they hold these dates if your team can somehow get to the NBA Finals. So what does it look like there? So now you're talking about a whole nother can of worms. What does this look like from Austin? I have no idea. I don't know what the University of Texas is thinking. I don't know what the city planners there are thinking. I don't know what the Moody Center people are thinking, right? And then so you're thinking, well, maybe Vegas or Seattle, other cities that we've heard could be on the horizon, or very likely are to be on the horizon for NBA expansion. Well, what does that look like? Does the NBA want to take a pre-existing team and have them move to Vegas or Seattle when there's some owner out there that we don't know exists yet that's going to have to pay an exorbitant fee to get into the NBA just to join the club, right? They're going to have to pay billions just to get in. That's on top of already owning the team. So are there people out there like that are willing to do that? I don't know. I mean, it's really hard, Sean, to spitball this thing out into the splinters that it could fracture into based on whatever does or doesn't happen in November, and then would have to happen again in May of next year in order for me to really give you a good understanding of what does this look like now when we really haven't crossed that bridge yet, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. And Stevie, he's lucky. He lives in Williamson County, so he doesn't have to worry about any tax increase, and that's going to affect Austin and Travis County. So that's great. But he is in real estate, so that does affect his business. Chuck, we have got to, either way in November, both of our cities could be affected in a major way. Both of our cities in some way. But what does not change is that you and I are overdue for an old school rock concert and cold beverages of whatever your choice is. It's on me.
Sean, I would very much look forward to that. I was trying to think, what Super Bowl were we at together when we were working pretty much side by side? Was it the Dallas Super Bowl, or was it the one in Arizona where Eli had the miracle throw to Tyree? I can't remember which one it was.
It was the one in Dallas because I remember we were there for a week in ice. And we were we would go to do our live shots on risers in 20-degree weather, which was absolutely awful. And then we would go to the Dallas Convention Center to find stories in warmth.
So, I remember that vividly, obviously. I won't bore you guys too long with too many stories.
You never bore us.
That was the Super Bowl. I got food poisoning from a kiosk in some place at the Super Bowl. I ate a roast beef sandwich, and I took the lettuce off because I could tell the lettuce was bad. What I didn't know was that the roast beef was also bad, and I almost didn't make that Super Bowl, man. You talk about playing injured, man. I was just lucky. I only had to go to the bathroom one time during that game, but it was all worth it because my Packers ended up winning the Super Bowl, so it was all good.
Mike McCarthy was the head coach, correct?
Yes, he was.
He's a good human.
Packers were dropping like flies all year. Packers had 16 guys on IR that year. Woodson broke his collarbone in the first half. They somehow ham and egged it, won a Super Bowl in spite of all that stuff. It was pretty special against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That was a great Super Bowl.
Indeed.
Stevie, I don't remember. How old was Stevie? Well, Stevie, you were just graduated from college. No. You were, I think, maybe 10 years out. I can't remember what year that was. Was that 2016?
Stevie, you're dating us 2010.
It was 2010. 2010.
I was 5 years out of college.
Oh, okay. Well, you weren't that young then.
Yeah, not at all.
He was still in playing
I thought you were going to say 5 years out of elementary school. Then I was going to feel really bad.
No, not at all, man. No, so I wanted to dive. I know we got to go and everything, but I would love to dive in a little bit more about the Spurs. My wife family is from around the corner from the current stadium. So
no kidding.
Yeah.
She's a Judson Rocket.
She's a Judson Rocket, but her mom and dad grew up right there. When her grandpa died 5 years ago, we sold a house that was literally walking distance to that stadium right there. And then her grandmother's house was taken over by eminent domain when they put in the Alamodome right there. So the church that her dad grew up in is around the corner, First Baptist Church right there. And so we know that area very, very well. We are there just about every year. We have nieces and nephews that graduate, but they use the other arena behind it, whatever that arena is called. There.
Freeman Coliseum?
Yeah, the Coliseum, exactly. So, I love that area, but I do understand that they may need something else downtown. I don't see the San Antonio Spurs coming to Austin. They just spent a ton of money building that new facility off of 1604. Is it off 1604, correct? Am I correct?
Yeah, they have some new facilities around here, and the AT&T Center is kind of up 35 north, but around where you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, it's nuanced, right? You said eminent domain, right? We're not even talking about like that aspect of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that almost hit close to me. When they were expanding 1604 by where I live, I was backed up to a green belt. When they were talking about expanding 1604, there was some talk that a couple of houses in our neighborhood might have to be just basically moved.
Yeah.
And so, you know, this is a real thing that citizens have to deal with, right? And, you know, again, it's very, very nuanced, this whole thing. You're talking about building something like this, which for sure San Antonio needs and could use. It's just how's it going to look like? How do we get there? And how do we do it with most of San Antonio seeing that this is a good thing that we need for the future, and it pays for itself in the right way.
Yeah, the one good thing about San Antonio is the citizens there absolutely love the Spurs, and they would riot if San Antonio Spurs left San Antonio. It would be horrible. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would be horrible. I mean, again, I think we're putting the cart before the horse on a lot of this stuff. I mean, again, we're really in a holding pattern until we see what happens in November, and then if they get the vote in November, we'll see what happens in May. But I know it's going to be coming up quick, so we'll be all watching, you know, with bated breath, as they say.
Yeah.
Hey, just like Mike Adams, I think Chuck needs his own segment on here to follow up. And when you get a chance, tell our mutual friend Jeff Traylor we said hello, and that it's been a year since he's been on here, so it's time.
You got to have him back, man. He's always good, right? You just crack open the microphone and let him go. Yeah. He's one of those guys you'd pay money to listen to, right? You're going to take something away from that you can make in your own life better for you, right? He's good at not only coaching his kids, he's good at coaching the rest of us too, in terms of his worldly view on some stuff. So
I love it. It's a great time to be in San Antonio, because I think the Spurs are this close to being back. They're making progress. I think UTSA is doing a great job of pouring into that football program. We're talking about one of the best coaches in America, just in a good human. And speaking of good humans, Chuck Miketinac, appreciate the friendship, man. I'm glad we've stayed in touch all these years.
Yeah, Clinch, good. I'm glad you guys are doing all right, man. Thank you, Stevie. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's a true honor. I'm glad you all, have somebody, you put me on, let me air it all out and have somebody to listen to me. My wife just goes, man, can you find some place to put this on a podcast so she don't have to listen to me yap?
Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Just like Jeff Traylor, hey, whenever Chuck speaks, you do learn something, 100%. Hey, buddy.
Appreciate you, fellas.
We'll be in touch soon. We'll talk. If you need anything from us, any way we can help, let us know.
You got it, Clinch. Thanks, bro.
See you, brother. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, what boy moms go through when their boys are in the back seat, what they have conversations about, and we'll end with some positivity like we always do. We'll see you on the other side of this break. The Bully is a cozy Austin original bar and grill that feels like home. Boulevard Bar and Grill, nestled into this Northwest Hills strip mall, recently celebrated 2 decades. The drink prices are like going back to 2004. It's where familiar faces gather and everyone knows your name. The Bully family are also friends of the stories inside the Man Cave podcast. Boulevard Bar and Grill on Far West Boulevard in Northwest Austin.
Here at Hargrove Roofing, we try to think outside the box to kind of get the creative juices flowing. So I brought in my friend Stevie Lee, former defensive tackle for the Texas Longhorns. He's going to help the team strategize, really motivate them, light a fire.
This guy's going to block down. This guy's going to block down. You put your butt into the guard, and that way my Mike linebacker gets free to do what?
Not only are they going to learn a thing or two, but they're going to also leave with a great attitude and a bunch of smiles on their faces.
I'm sorry, what does this have to do with roofing exactly?
Get out.
Right now.
I said get out.
For me, that's what it's all about. It's just having fun, making our employees have a great time. Hargrove Roofing, know who's on your roof.
All right, Stevie Lee, TikTok in the man cave. You know, we like to keep it a little dirty around here because TikTok, there's a lot of inappropriate things, and it's absolutely priceless content sometimes. This one's absolutely hilarious for all the boy moms out there. You know how this woman feels, and when you have a husband who encourages the boys to continue their comments, because little boys, they have a tendency. We all did it when we were little boys. We always like to learn about the anatomy.
Here's dicks. Here's our dicks. Our dicks are right here, right there, right there. All 3 dicks in the car. And Mama doesn't even get the dicks. Why is no dick? She gets the balls.
No, she's got front buns.
Good dicks.
Okay, that's enough.
Hey, Mom reached her limits on that.
Yeah, she heard enough dicks.
Enough dick.
Hey, Ben, tell me something good.
All right, Stevie Lee, positivity is the best thing because you are a positive guy. We need more people like you in this world. And, man, I know it's college football season. We got our first fill of tailgating finally of the season this past weekend. But what else is going on? What else is good? Tell me something good, my brother.
Man, something good. I was going to go a totally different route, but now I'm pivoting. This weekend was my brother-in-law's birthday, and they came up to town, and I took them out. We did the touristy thing and went down Dirty 6th Street.
Ooh.
But I will tell you, man, we had a really good time. I'm not going to lie. I had a really good time watching the kids that were in college. When I was in college and when I was their age, I was watching how they moved and things that they were doing. I was like, oh, my God, that was me. 23 years ago?
Yeah.
You know, so it was fun to see that. Again, I haven't been on Dirty 6th Street in a long time. And so we went down there because my in-laws wanted to take do the touristy stuff for his birthday and get a shot at every bar, a birthday shot at every bar. He didn't finish because he's old. He's older than me. But it was a lot of fun. And hanging out with family. I got up the next morning. My other brother-in-law that lives here cooked us brunch. I got up here and went over there and ate brunch with them, man. Just family, man. Family. Being out with family, hanging out with family. That's something good, man. If you have your family around, you hug on them, man. And love on them. And, I was not dreading, but I have on the schedule to be with them next weekend because their family reunion is scheduled for next weekend. And I was like, told my parents to come in town so we can go to their family reunion. So my folks are coming to town. I'm going to miss this home game because I'm hanging out with family, man. But I'm going to miss my Longhorn family, but I also would love to hang out with my family too. So down in San Antonio. So that's something good, man. It's warming my heart that we get to do that. And I got people around me that love on my kids, love on my wife, and actually love on me too. So that's something good for me, man. Something positive.
No, that's great. And you can go see your new friend, Chuck Miketinac.
There you go.
There he is. No, I always play off of that, man. It's always good. It's especially for me, and a lot of people are like me where you just don't have a lot of family anymore. And I will say my family is comprised of my friends.
Yeah.
And I have cousins. Don't get me wrong. I have a sister in Houston and nieces and nephews. But for a while now, and it's the friends and it's tailgating and the game. I made a post on Twitter. I said, family. It was good to see the DKR family again.
Yeah.
And you see so many familiar faces before, during, and after. And, man, I'm so grateful because I'm glad I'm taking the road. It's year 2 of the season ticket as that, and that has just added to the fun of it. And you start developing other relationships, and you got a routine you go through.
Mm-hmm.
So there it is. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to this weekend's game either. I'm going to have to get those tickets into somebody else's hands. For the great city of Shreveport, Louisiana, and the Hargrove Roofing family, and the Stevie Lee and his family from Shreveport, and to my college alma mater town, Nacogdoches. Hey, SFA, we're 0-2 right now, but we're going to flip that program around here this season. I promise you that. And to my beautiful hometown, Austin, Texas, where we've got great high school football here, and the Anderson Trojans are 2-0, by the way, and so are a large number of programs here, and it's beautiful. And to everybody watching and listening, thank you. Thank you so much for continuing to grow this on all the platforms. We appreciate it. Reach out to us, comment. Let's have some fun. Maybe I'll surprise you and have a fan of the month come on and do a segment with us. We love you. We love you like that, because that's telling you something good, the people who follow this podcast. And lastly, to all the sponsors and our partners, if you've not done it, have a cold beverage at Boulevard Bar and Grill. And go see our guy, Dave Ramirez at Northwest Hills Liquor. Get your HVAC and plumbing needs at Honest Plumbing and Air. And Jim Saxton State Farm, he'll do you right. And to the OG Man Cave boys, that being Hardball Harge, Big Mike, and the Coach Mo, what do we tell them, Stevie Lee?
We out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. I'm in my car in the giddy up.
I said get out.